Any problem which involves a car ahead usually concerns the ability of the following car to stop without a collision. Most drivers, even some good ones, don't realize how much road is used to stop a car. In these braking tests, we fire chalk markers onto the road to measure reaction distance and braking distance. The first shot is the instructor's signal to the driver to stop. The second fires automatically when the driver puts his foot on the brake. The distance between these two chalk marks, that is, the distance the car travels before the brakes are actually applied, is called the driver's reaction distance. This car is traveling at 25 miles an hour when the instructor makes his signal. The driver's reaction distance, measured between the two chalk marks, is 19 feet. But the car has actually traveled another 43 feet past the second mark with its brakes full on before it stopped. A total of 62 feet. Let's look at the same test at 50 miles an hour. The reaction distance is increased to 36 feet, and the braking distance is 131 feet, giving a total stopping distance of 167 feet. So, to sum it all up, at 25 miles an hour, the car travels 19 feet while the driver reacts. At 50 miles an hour, it's 36 feet, almost double. At 25 miles an hour, the braking distance is 43 feet, making a total stopping distance of 62 feet. But at 50 miles an hour, this distance is 131 feet, a total stopping distance of 167 feet, nearly 4 times as much. These results, obtained under test conditions and with an expert driver, are far, far better than may be expected under normal road conditions. Underestimating stopping distance is the most common error when you're traveling close to the car in front of you. You cannot stop a car immediately. So let's keep these tests where they belong, on the test pad, not on our roads. Don't travel too close to the car in front of you. Stopping may take longer than you think, and you could end up like this. More than 250,000 vehicles will be involved in accidents on our roads in the coming year. In many cases, because drivers don't know how long it takes to stop a car. These statistics suggest that an accident is waiting for us somewhere in the miles ahead. Let's hope we'll recognize it when it comes and prevent the accident by defensive driving. Learning to identify hazards and defenses against them for these situations can save us time and money, and could someday save your life or the life of someone close to you. 2 car crashes form the largest single category of road accidents involving fatal injuries. Let's have a look at a situation which involves the car ahead. We're driving along when suddenly we were much too close. How could we avoid this? Allow 1 car's length, or about 20 feet, for every 10 miles an hour. 20 miles an hour means 2 car lengths. Plenty of space to stop safely. And 50 miles an hour means 5 lengths behind, because the braking distance is so much greater at that speed. And if the road is wet or slippery, we must double or even treble the distance. This safety margin that we keep between moving cars at all times is called the following distance. A simple method for checking the correct following distance at all speeds is called the time-lapse formula. We watch the vehicle ahead pass some definite point on the road, like that sign. We count 1001, 1002, that is 2 seconds, until the bonnet of our car passes the object. If we pass the point within 2 seconds, it means we're following too closely. Now, this rule applies at any speed. Let's try that again. Observe the sign. Count 1001, 1002. We're traveling at the correct distance from the car ahead. Now, try one on your own. This is called the time-lapse formula for estimating safe following distance. If the road is wet or slippery, we should double the count to 4 seconds. Stopping may take longer than we think. Stay alert. Expect anything. Stay ahead of the situation. In an emergency, act decisively. Let us consider another car ahead situation. How could this have been avoided? The driver in front of us should have been aware of how unpredictable youngsters can be. By making a slower getaway, he could restrict the speed of our vehicle as well. But what we're really concerned with is our action as the driver of the second car. To begin with, we are too close to the one ahead, so our field of vision is restricted. As defensive drivers, we should train ourselves to be alert, not only to the braking distance, but to everything around us. We should see that child at the crossing, realize that if she runs out, the driver in front might stop suddenly. Let's see how we as defensive drivers handle the situation. Good. We leave more space. And a good way to keep that space is to count 1, 2, 3 to ourselves before moving off. Now, because we can see past the car in front, we know the youngster is there. And here's another common driving hazard. Sometimes 3 or even more vehicles run into each other, even though speed is not excessive. How do multiple crashes occur? A driver who isn't alert probably reacts only to the stoplight of the car ahead. So each driver brakes about 1 second later than the one ahead of him. The third driver brakes about 2 seconds later than the first, and the fourth 3 seconds later. And none of them has observed proper following distance. If we're in car number 4 and able to drive away unmarked, we've been either very lucky or defensive drivers. But luck is not enough. Wherever we go and whenever we drive, we must always keep the defensive driving formula in mind. Know the braking distance. Estimate the following distance. Recognize the hazard. Understand the defense. Act in time.